Hello, Kiana Sage here, and today with In-Sync Insights, I'm going to be talking about unconscious people. Those people who lack consciousness. And you might be wondering, well, what is that? You know, those people that are completely, totally unaware, we run into them all the time. But what do we do when we work with them, have them in our sphere of influence? They're in our life situations or relationships, or maybe you're even in a relationship with somebody who's unconscious. How do you recognize that? Well, interestingly enough, as I was processing that this last week, and because I ran into somebody that's completely unconscious, and it's like, wow, what are the things that make them unconscious? Well, believe it or not, they compose 4 out of 7 of the deadly sins. So what does that mean? So which ones are they? So somebody who's unconscious will be wrapped up in lust, greed, gotta have the money, everything's about the money, envy, jealousy, and then of course pride. Too prideful to admit that they made a mistake. So those are essentially the 4 of the 7 deadly sins. And those wrap up into one big thing called ego. Now, we all have an ego, but we're all not lustful. We're not all in envy and jealousy. We're not all about the cash. You know, so it's not that we don't have components of these. It's that we're not all about those things. And these people who are lacking consciousness are really about those things. And so once you recognize that and realize that they're totally an ego, you can start to make different, better choices for yourself. So the other thing that I think is a really interesting distinction between those who are unconscious or lacking consciousness is that they are totally in their head. Like their mind is running the show. They don't have a head and heart connection like someone like me. And in fact, people who are lacking consciousness or awareness aren't even going to be watching a video like this. So this is really for you to identify when you're around those types of people. And so you know to really not go deep with those people, not to be too vulnerable, too open, because they can't connect to their heart enough and their soul to connect to you and do, quote unquote, the right thing. So how do I respond when I run into somebody who's unconscious? Well, I try not to do business with them. So if I'm in a business relationship, I'll either sever the relationship because their interests are really not big picture. It's all self-serving. So I don't spend a lot of time with people who are in that space. And also, they really don't care for somebody like me who is going to try and make them aware by being more clear. And they don't like clarity because they like to live in their little world. So your job is just to recognize and make different choices for yourself moving forward when you're around those people. Your job is not to wake them up because, you know, they didn't hire you. So unless they're hiring you to wake them up, let them be. And just make different, better choices for yourself where you are around people who are more aware or willing to be more aware. So being and lacking consciousness is really equal to a lack of awareness. That's keeping it simple. So your awareness and noticing is really where the growth is. So thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next month.